Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, joined, of course, by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And, of course, the Brian Craig Show is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. If you're in the state of Florida and you need roof repair or replacement, Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing can help. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. Online at laportaroofing.com. I just saw this list on X earlier today. Listen to this, Kathy. It's a list of things. Now, keep in mind, President Trump has not even been president 2 weeks yet. Be 2 weeks tomorrow was the inauguration. Mexico caved, which just happened today. We're going to talk about that. Mm-hmm. Mexico caved. Panama caved. Colombia caved. Venezuela caved. Mm-hmm. Canada panicking. Mass deportations. Hostages are home. DEI programs ended. Bureaucracy slashed. FBI purges are underway. U.S. aid funding canceled. Yep. Gender ideology eliminated. Doge already saved billions. 51 intel agents lost clearances. Border crossings drop by 93%. Reservoirs filled up in California. And there's just a few things. I mean, that's
all in 2 weeks.
That's amazing. Now, before we get to Mexico, just want to tell you before I forget this, the FBI is in revolt against Trump, and senior FBI agents in charge at different field offices around the country, including the one in New York City, have been sending emails out on their official government emails, which is insane to me, telling other FBI, because they're afraid of being fired, this purge, Trump thinks that they should be, we all think they should be fired. They've been sending these emails out to agents under them saying that FBI agents cannot be fired without due process. So what they're doing, and this is leadership at the FBI are, I guess, planning on when Trump fires them not to leave the job and stay in place. Like there's some autonomous group that's separate from the government. They're their own governing agency. I mean,
I'm sure Kash Patel will know how to handle this one.
They are out of their minds. And
he should get sworn in this week.
Yeah, well,
he'll take care of business.
The fact that they're sending those emails out on the government servers where there's a record and everybody sees it, it's in the press, shows how that they all should be fired because they're not mentally fit enough to hold those positions. And they've been this rogue organization since they were created by J. Edgar Hoover that they have no sense.
Everything that we see Trump doing over the last 2 weeks, this is why they tried so hard to stop him the first time. This is why they impeached him twice. This is why they went after him over and over and over again, because this is the kind of stuff they didn't want him to do. Mm-hmm. And all they did was try to stop him from doing these kinds of things, stop him from sniffing around, stop him from looking into things. But I'm so glad, and I hope this doesn't come across wrong, that he is serving now. I think it's worked out, and it's obviously part of God's plan, because he had to go through fire and hell to come out on the other side. And that often happens in things like this when somebody's on a mission from God, is they go through hell and fire first. They come out of like a phoenix rising, because the corruption and all the badness had to be exposed. All the evil had to be exposed, and it has been exposed. If he had served back-to-back terms, it would have been more of the same from the first term. It just would have been endless trying to stop him, getting in the way. Nobody's getting in his way anymore. It's over. They're done. They don't have the numbers in the House. People needed to see how bad things were. It had to get really bad for people to wake up. You have nobody stopping him in the House or the Senate. I know with some of these nominations, but they'll go through. By the end of February, he'll have everybody. So he is doing everything, and he is not letting anybody stand in his way. He knows who to trust, who not to trust. He is basically doing a purge of the deep state. He really is financially, with the employees, with everything. He's cleaning house.
Well, like this
and
thing,
it's amazing what he's done in 2 weeks.
This thing today with U.S. aid. So they shut down U.S. aid, and it looks like they're putting it under the State Department. And U.S. aid, what we're finding out about U.S. aid is I believe it's a CIA front group. Okay,
And
I
a
think
slush fund for the
it,
congressman.
it's what the U.S. aid looks to me to be what the CIA uses to not just pay people off and the government pays each other off, but to cause problems around America and
the world.
And the world.
Yeah.
Cause revolutions.
That's what they do.
And political unrest. And President Trump, he was signing executive orders in the Oval Office today, and he had turned it into a press conference. Has become the tradition, right, of the second term. And I give you a couple of things he talked about, and everything he says is so reasonable. They're of course freaking out over these import taxes. They call them tariffs, right? They are tariffs, but they're really import taxes, to be more accurate. And Trump said, I want reciprocal trade, reciprocal import taxes, which means if a country has a 30% import tax on our goods, he wants to have a 30% on their goods coming in.
Seems fair.
And what he's doing is he wants to set up whatever the imbalance is, whatever their taxes are on our goods that come in, he's going to do the same to them. And he talked about something that was fascinating about Ukraine. He said, and he's gotten Zelensky to agree to this. And this is really amazing. Ukraine has agreed to this. He said this today. They have a bunch of rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals, can be like diamonds, emeralds, uranium, things like that. Apparently, they're very abundant in rare earth minerals. And they're going to pay us back for all the money that we've spent on Ukraine. They're going to pay us back in these rare earth minerals.
Nice. And
he's already worked that deal out. He said Ukraine has agreed to it. Now, what's going on with Canada and Mexico? So Mexico totally caved today, okay? This trade war with Canada and Mexico just is not Canada, that hasn't been settled yet, but it may be settled by the time you're listening to this episode. Because
he's going to talk to him again this afternoon.
Yeah, but Mexico has already surrendered and gave in. And I want to share this. Trump posted this morning. This happened this morning. And you got to understand, Mexico is on, I guess, they're on mountain time. At least a big chunk of it's on mountain time. Maybe some of it's in central. So this happened in the morning here on the East Coast, like say around before noon. This happened before noon on the East Coast. So first thing in the morning in Mexico City, the president of Mexico, first thing in the morning, their time, okay, Mexico City time, first thing she did in the morning was cave and surrender to Trump. And this is what Trump posted on Truth Social. President Trump wrote this. I just spoke with President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico. It was a very friendly conversation wherein she agreed to immediately supply 10,000 Mexican soldiers on the border separating Mexico and the United States. These soldiers will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal migrants into our country. We further agreed to immediately pause the anticipated tariffs for 1 month, a period during which we will have negotiations headed by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of Commerce, and high-level representatives of Mexico. I look forward to participating in those negotiations with President Sheinbaum as we attempt to achieve a deal between our two countries. So Mexico has already caved. Trudeau's a different story because, now again, I don't want to talk about Canada too much because President Trump is speaking with him. He's already talked once. He's talking to him again today. So this could be settled by the time you're listening to this with Canada. But Trudeau's different because he's a spoiled child. He only became prime minister because his daddy was prime minister when Clinton was president. He's very spoiled. President Trump has gotten him removed from power. They're having an election in October. He stepped down. He's not running.
Well, plus now he's got to be pissed off.
Yeah,
at the Canadians,
everybody
for pushing him out. This is a narcissist.
Well, what Trudeau?
You think he's happy?
No,
he's embarrassed, and he wants to punish them.
So Trudeau is kind of in the same head Biden was when they ousted Biden from the nomination. So he's out to mess everybody up, Canada and the United States.
He's not going to do good by Canada.
So he really should resign now because he's an unfit leader. But you see what's going on, and what we're finding out, we knew this with Mexico. If you don't include the illegal exports into the United States from Mexico, which are the drugs and the people, the legal exports of Mexico, their legal exports, about 85% of them come to the United States.
Right.
Okay, if you include the drugs and the people, it's 100% of their exports come to the United States, pretty much. I mean, like 99.9999%. So they knew that and the people of Canada, see, here's, I keep saying can't mean Mexico. Here's the thing. For a country, the only countries that have their own auto industry, okay, are nice-sized countries. Because for a country to have a successful auto manufacturing business, they have to have a population that can support it, right? They have to have enough people that can buy the cars, and they have to be able to export too to be successful. Mexico's population is too poor. People in Mexico that are middle class make like $200-300 a month, and you know what I mean. So they don't have enough money to buy the products that Mexico makes.
They're not really consumers,
so
we are.
They have to depend on us. Canada really it's a big country land wise, but most of it's the Arctic. You can't live. Remember, I tell you this a lot. 80% of the population of Canada live within 150 miles of the U.S. border. 80% lives within 150 miles of our border.
Yeah.
And a big old country that goes all the way to the North Pole. So Canada, and they're
pretty much mostly uninhabitable.
Yeah. Their population is about 10% of the American population. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he's telling everybody, I love how Trudeau went on TV and told everybody not to travel to the United States.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, half the country comes down here during the winter, literally. I mean,
Florida.
We live in South Florida. I grew up here. My mom is from Canada, and
She's an American now, though.
My mom, for a job, was a nurse, a visiting home health nurse. She's retired, and in the wintertime, business was really good because all the snowbirds came down. That was her busy time between October and April.
Yeah,
and then between April and October was the slow time. Her business went down by half. And that's how it always was. And she said it's the snowbirds.
Canada's empty.
So many people from Canada, including my family, have a house down here. My cousins have a home in Boca, come down for the winter. That's what they do. There is very little places to vacation in Canada.
No.
Everywhere's cold. So you can maybe go to everything worth living in is along the border. You can maybe go to Vancouver. Maybe go to Nova Scotia is nice, but it's freezing there. It is freezing. The Canadians want to go to a tropical climate. They're always cold. It's nice in the summer for about a month, but it is always cold there from like Labor Day until probably Memorial Day. It's freezing. And they love to go to tropical places. Yeah. For vacation. There's nothing tropical in Canada.
And
they're not going to go there for vacation, Trudeau. Sorry.
And Canada, since they have a small population, about 30 million or so.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 10% of our population. Their population is not large enough to support their industry at the level they live. So
that's why they're taxed so high.
Canada, and what we've learned from Canada, because there's a lot of the people of Canada there's a lot of conservatives in Canada. We know this. Remember the truckers and all that, but their government is socialist. But we're getting a lot of information about the situation in Canada from Canadians, and really Canada, they seem like a first world country, but they're really not. The only reason that they're a first world country is because they're on our coattails and we're supporting them. And without the United States, and over 75% of Canadian exports come to the United States, about 75%. Okay, maybe a little bit more than that. It's between 75 and 80%.
They're making a big mistake.
So their economy cannot survive. Another thing, if you notice, and no one in the press has picked up on this because they're stupid. The press are stupid. We don't have journalists anymore. I haven't heard President Trump once mention the Keystone Pipeline. He's not going to build it. It's not going to get done. He doesn't want. He said today we don't need their energy.
Yeah, because that comes from Alberta.
Exactly. We've got enough oil. We've got more oil and natural gas than any other country in the world. We don't need their stinking oil and natural gas. So the Keystone Pipeline's off the table. What's happened is this happened since the end of World War II is when this transition started. Mm-hmm. But it got worse in the 60s and on. But the entire world, Trump says, is ripping us off. We're supporting the entire world. not just Canada and Mexico, but the entire world.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's not right. It's not fair, but it's not fair to the American people.
I think
No?
people are on both sides are going to be very shocked, even us MAGA people, at how much money has been wasted, how much of our tax dollars. You have people work and they don't care about 2 genders or 3 genders or how many multiple genders. They're not going to care about all these social justice things going on. They're going to care that they're working 3 jobs, that they can't afford food. Meanwhile, they're going to start seeing all the money that's been wasted, the money that they work so hard and are being taxed to death to support all these other countries. They had the ex-president of Kenya made a video, and he said, why should America give us money? He said, what do we do for them? He said, they shouldn't be giving us any money. What other country taxes the citizens and then gives that money to us?
Exactly.
Nobody.
No one.
But they tax us and give it to everybody else.
And then anytime
Trump's putting an end to that.
And then
It's
anytime we
bullshit.
complain about taxes, they tell us we're greedy, and they tell us about Social Security. It's not Social Security.
No.
It's this stuff. And Vice President J.D. Vance, when I saw this tweet of his today on X, I thought this had to be a fake account. This had to be like a parody account.
He's in Ohio today.
Yeah.
He's in Erie.
But what he posted today about Canada, this blew me. This was actually yesterday. Okay, this was yesterday. I just saw it today. Okay, and I really thought this was a parody account, and then no, this is Vice President J.D. Vance on his own X account. Listen to this, J.D. Vance. Spare me the sob story about how Canada is our best friend. I love Canada and have many Canadian friends. But is the government meeting their NATO target for military spending? Are they stopping the flow of drugs into our country? I'm sick of being taken advantage of. That's pretty hardcore from the vice president about Canada. People are ticked.
I'm sorry, he's in East Palestine.
East Palestine, yeah. That's where the train crash was a couple years ago.
Lake Erie, because my dad used to swim in that.
It's where the train crash was.
East Palestine. It's been 2 years since that.
So for him to talk that way about Canada, Trudeau, he better get things together real quick, or Canada is going to have an economic collapse.
Canadians always have this image that they're and the people are nice. So I don't blame the people. No. I have family and friends that live there. I don't blame the people at all. This isn't their fault. But their leaders are corrupt, very corrupt. And I don't think people ever thought of Canada as being that way. I don't think people realized that we give them over $200 billion
We're funding the whole country.
We're probably funding
everything,
half of probably their entire healthcare system. And I would love to see Trump come out. And I think what he's going to tell Trudeau today is, if you don't give me what I want, that money's over. But I don't think Trudeau cares. He's the wrong guy to send in there because they kicked him out. And I think Trudeau's going to take them all down with him. I mean, he's a total narcissist. I could see that happening.
Trump was successful in regime change in Canada by just a couple of posts and jokes, right?
Yeah, but he's still in charge till October. So, a lot of damage can be done.
Now, today I was talking about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment, on the radio, and I heard from some listeners asking me for the number, and this is the thing. When you're suffering in pain, it's the worst, guys. I've been there. It's really bad. My knee pain that I suffer from. You hear me talk about that a lot. That was the first pain that I had that Dr. Appleton rid me of 2.5 years ago, and the pain has not returned. I had that pain since I was 20 years old, and sometimes the pain was so bad, I just wanted to go to sleep. You know what I mean? The pain. When you're in pain, it's the worst. And when I first met with Dr. Appleton and he explained to me how the laser treatment worked for pain, I'm like, I don't know, doc. I mean, I've been suffering with this pain for 30 years. 30 years. He treated me with the laser wave pain treatment. The pain is gone, and it has not returned 2.5 years later. Now he's rid me of pain 6 other times since then, so 7 in total. The laser treatment works. It works. It's 100% painless. You don't even feel it when the treatment's being done. There's no drugs, no shots, no downtime. Dr. Appleton performs all the treatments himself, and appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. And the reason walk-ins are welcome is because Dr. Appleton knows that when you're in pain, you're hurting, man. You need to see him now, right? You ever go to the doctor for the first time, you're a new patient, and they make you an appointment in 2 weeks or even 6 weeks? Not to Dr. Appleton, just walk in. Now, you can make an appointment. And if you're coming from out of town or out of state, you might want to call and make an appointment, but you don't have to. You can walk in, even on Saturdays. I've never made an appointment with Dr. Appleton, never. And I remember one time I was in pain. This was the first time I hurt my shoulder, and Dr. Appleton treated I can't remember if it was my right or left because I've hurt them both twice. But it was Friday, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go see Dr. Appleton tomorrow on Saturday. And then late in the day on Friday, the pain was just so bad, and I said to you, I said, I can't wait. I got to go see Dr. Appleton now. Now, I went late in the afternoon on Friday. No appointment. Walked in. He treated me. And I was so glad I did because I woke up the next day already feeling better. So give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain too, all right? 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. I'm Brian Craig, joined, of course, by my wife and co-host Kathy. We're going to take our first break and be back. There's so much more to talk about. Don't go anywhere.
Have you been chasing financial freedom your whole life, but still find yourself living paycheck to paycheck? You're not alone. But ask yourself this: what if wealth wasn't just about money, but about faith, purpose, and lasting success? Author Mario R. Andre unveils the path to true financial independence in his book, Faith and Money Relations, available on Amazon. Faith and Money Relations is a blueprint for building wealth through faith and smart strategies. With this book, you'll learn how to convert your income into portfolio and passive earnings. Discover how to manage debt, grow multiple income streams, and create a life where money serves you, not the other way around. Author Mario R. Andre's approach is grounded in faith and designed to help you break free from corporate constraints and build wealth that stands the test of time. Are you ready to unlock your potential? Then order your copy of this must-read and life-changing book, Faith and Money Relations, from author Mario R. Andre, available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. Experience the mystery, elegance, and soothing power of Dark Night Candles, only at candlesbyross.com. Handcrafted with care by Ross, the creator of the Dark Night Candle line. These luxurious candles are designed to ease anxiety, relieve stress, and bring a serene glow to your home. Each flame represents resilience, strength, and quiet sophistication, infused with deep, evocative fragrances. Dark Night Candles are eco-friendly and handmade with care in the charming village of Grays Lake, Illinois. They're perfect for those who love modern luxury with a touch of mystique. Right now, enjoy free shipping and an exclusive buy two, get one free offer. No code needed. Shop the entire Dark Night Candle collection today at candlesbyross.com. Let their glow bring warmth and serenity to your space. The Dark Night Candle collection, where modern craftsmanship meets legendary spirit. Order now at candlesbyross.com. Bullied, misunderstood, stuck in a world that doesn't see him. But what if everything changed? When Alex Knight stumbles into a magical world, dreams become reality, and nightmares do too. From author Andrew M. Thompson comes your next must-read book, Alex Knight in the Secret Worlds, available on Amazon. Facing otherworldly creatures, unlocking supernatural powers, and hunting for the legendary ghost coins. Alex Knight and his friends must complete daring quest before an ancient evil threatens everything. Will Alex rise to the challenge, or will our world fall? Find out when you read Alex Knight in the Secret Worlds, available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Adventure is calling. Will you answer? Alex Knight in the Secret Worlds, from author Andrew M. Thompson. Order your copy today on Amazon. Parenting is tough, but giving bad advice, that's easy. The Bad Dad Advice Podcast is where four dads, a rookie, and two so-called pros share their hilariously terrible takes on fatherhood. Need sleep training tips? They got them. Will they work? Doubt it. Trying to keep your house clean? Lower your expectations. Bad Dad Advice is a casual, no-pressure, all-laughs podcast about the ups and downs of being a dad. Make sure you subscribe, because they really need this podcast to do well. If this podcast fails, the guys are stuck doing chores. New episodes of Bad Dad Advice drop each week. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Bad Dad Advice Podcast, the worst advice you'll ever love. Start listening right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Okay, so the deportations are going very well. And they're stepping up all the time. And I know there was this craziness on the LA freeway. You know, the Mexicans that closed down the LA freeway, okay, it tells you how out of touch. They're on another planet. They actually believe that, I guess, that they've conquered Southern California and they own it. I don't know. So the governor of New Jersey, I don't know if you guys have seen this.
This is nuts.
This is the governor, the current governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy. And he is harboring an illegal, but there's some questions to ask. I'll play it and then we'll talk about it after. This is so strange. Listen.
We're talking about, I don't want to get into too much detail, but there's someone in our broader universe whose immigration status is not yet at the point that they are trying to get it to. And we said, you know what? Let's have her live at our house above our garage. And good luck to the feds coming in to try to get her.
Okay, above the garage. What is she? She's like Fonzie, right? Okay. So this guy, he's the governor of New Jersey. He's harboring some unknown Latina lady above the garage.
Obviously, she was his housekeeper because he kind of alluded that they knew her and she was worried about her status. So obviously, it was his housekeeper. So here's the difference. So he's hiding her from ICE, and I'm sure she really appreciates him going on national television and letting everybody know where she is. Yeah. And here's the difference. Dennis Quaid had the same problem, but what did he do? He went down and got the proper paperwork for his maid. Because remember, he told the story that he had a housekeeper that was concerned about her status. So he said, fine, let's get the proper paperwork. Let's get this resolved and get you your green card. And that's what he did for her. This guy just hides her off in the garage. And
above the garage.
She was obviously living off property. So now she's living on his property, the governor of New Jersey, and he's harboring a criminal now at his home. I'm assuming it's the person who worked for there. So this is what the Democrats are all about. Democrats are all about cheap labor and importing cheap labor. They always have been. And I don't agree with that. And I kind of was disappointed in Dennis Quaid for admitting he did the same thing. So at least he helped her get her proper paperwork. But I don't agree with this paying people less money because they happen to be here illegally. You should hire legal citizens here and pay them the proper wage, because I think that's wrong. But Democrats love cheap labor, and they get off on having people work for them that they can control, and they can pay less money. I mean, that's just how it is. They've always been that way. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think that Tom Homan would be swayed by this, but I don't know why this guy felt the need to. He's using this woman for his own political gain. He's putting her in the crosshairs of Tom Homan so he can score points with his liberal voters. I mean, this is not a nice man.
Yeah, no, it's very strange. I mean, and can you imagine if any Republican governor, you know, if Ron DeSantis was harboring some Latina woman on property, people would be asked, well, what's that about? What
well, you know? I would have some serious concerns if you were doing that. That would not happen in our home.
I know.
I can promise you that.
I know. That's crazy. Yeah, I know.
Well, you know, I have somebody I know that is American, and she is a friend of mine. And she was born in the United States, but her family's Puerto Rican, which is still American. She's American. And she knows of 2 or 3 illegals and she's Hispanic, that she wants to turn in. That
Really?
she doesn't like them. That's why.
Gosh.
So she.
Oh my goodness.
She came to me one day and
line?
she said, I heard you can call a phone number to turn in people that are here illegally. I said, yeah, I think there is. And she said, well, I got a couple people in mind that I don't like. I said, okay. I'm like, I just told her Google it. I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
But it's,
Yeah. Well,
the way it is.
Listen.
They're criminals.
With this, what the governor is saying is that he is harboring a federal fugitive from justice.
Not only that, he dared them to come get her.
And what he's daring them to do are come through the state troopers that protect him. So not only is he harboring a federal fugitive by his own admission, she may not have even been on a deportation list. I bet she is now. And he's implying that his state troopers that guard him at the governor's mansion are going to fight it out with ICE agents and Tom Homan?
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I told you guys before Trump's inauguration, okay? I told you this a few times. At some point, Democrats are going to try to set up a siege-like situation. They want to have like a Ruby Ridge, Waco kind of thing going on with illegals somewhere and Tom Homan. President Trump and Tom Homan and Christy Nome are too smart for that. They're not going to allow a siege to take. The only reason those sieges happened is because you had typical government bureaucrats running things. And that's not what you have going on now. These are smart people.
Yeah.
And nothing like that's going to happen. So I think he's trying to start a siege, but I think
he's using her. He's using her to make that happen because he wants that to happen.
He wants Holman outside the governor's mansion.
I mean, he's using her for those he's not helping this woman.
Someone needs to do a wellness check on her because, I mean, does she want to be above the garage?
I'm sure Tom Homan will.
I mean, when they're done with that wellness check, they could do a wellness check on Kanye's weirdo naked wife from the Grammys.
I mean, it really, when you listen to the arguments of, and I think Stephen Miller or somebody was on with Jake Tapper talking about this, and he was talking about picking the crops and this and that. And he said what I've always said to him. He said, you're using the same argument the slaveholders used. Who's going to pick the cotton? Who's going to take care of the kids? Who's going to this? The economy's going to collapse. The same exact lines that the slave owners used to give to justify slavery. Now, I understand it was different. The slaves could not leave. They were not free. They were not able to read. They were beaten and raped and all this stuff, and it was not a good thing. And I get that if families were separated. I understand that whole thing. But the concept behind it is the same. You're importing cheap labor and bringing in people here that really don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
They have these jobs, and they might not be treated like a slave. They might be making some money, but they're really kind of trapped too and stuck there too. So it's different, but the concept behind it is the same kind of concept. And I don't know why Democrats like Whoopi Goldberg or Joy Behar, they can't see past their hatred of white Christians. So or Trump. So instead, they just overlook all these things, and they don't want to hear that that's really what's going on right now. Is they're just advocating. And what's interesting is a lot of people are posting on X from job sites, and none of them are from crops. They're from construction sites predominantly.
And that's skilled labor.
And they are, and also out west and even here in South Florida, one woman works at Walmart, and she's Spanish, but she has a green card, and she was at work, and she said more than half the people did not report to work because Walmart is hiring all illegals. They're afraid to go to work because Tom Homan is doing these
show up at random.
These mass, sweeps. So Walmart needs to be looked into because they're hiring, and guess what? They could pay those people minimum wage. That's why they do it. If they have to hire Americans, they're going to have to pay more money. Mm-hmm. But when you see these empty businesses, these empty job sites, it shows you how many jobs are really being taken from Americans. There's plenty of Americans that would work there. Like Trump said, it takes jobs away from Black Americans, Spanish Americans, And I would add even white Americans, all Americans. There's plenty of white Americans that would be happy to work at Walmart, especially in smaller towns where that's the only job in town. You used to live in Okeechobee, and you said that a Walmart opened there, and you applied for a job there a long time ago, and you couldn't get a job there because I promise you they hired all illegals because they could pay them less.
Yeah. Well,
that's how it goes.
A friend of, I don't want to say who it was because I don't know if they want to be involved in politics, but a friend of mine, one of our sponsors, sent me a link to a news story of a reporter in Miami was telling illegals what to do if ICE knocks at their door to avoid being taken away. I mean, I couldn't believe what they're doing. It's amazing to me what's happened. And, I don't know how uncomfortable I shouldn't say uncomfortable because it doesn't make me uncomfortable, but it's so different of a feeling to have a president and a government of the United States that's putting America and Americans first. We've never had that before. No. Even with Reagan, not like that. Reagan was very good. We were kids, but he was very good. But his focus was bringing down the Soviet Union. Trump's focus is on raising up the United States. And I just have, like this thing with Rubio, went down to Panama. Panama caved immediately. Trump wants more from them, though. They haven't done enough. But according to President Trump. But it's amazing what's going on. We've never had a president and a White House administration looking out for us. They're always looking out for others.
It will change the expectations of Americans. I mean, look at everything he's done in 2 weeks. Can you imagine? Nobody's stopping this guy. Nobody. Can you imagine what's going to be accomplished in 4 years?
Yeah.
This will be completely turned around, this country. And there will be nobody that will be able to come out and attack it. And all the liberals, they just have not learned. They're still talking about these social justice things that nobody cares about at all. And they're still going to be talking about that because that is all they have. That is all they have to go for them, to get people to vote for them, is to put people in categories and make them feel like victims. That's the only ace in their hole. But it's been played so many times that people are tuning it out. For example, they had the Grammys last night. I never watch award shows. I don't even know who the singers are anymore. I listen to old stuff.
No.
But I saw clips, and they all, of course, made it all about Trump and the deportations and DEI. And I mean, they will never change. And I think when Trump first went in office, I think he felt that he could be so persuasive, he could convince people to see his point of view. And I think he's realized that Democrats, there's no helping those people. There's no helping them. Some of them will switch, but for the most part, they're just useful idiots and they will never change. And he's like, you know what? F those guys. I'm going to just totally ignore them and do what I want.
And you know what? It's too soon to be talking about the midterms, but the Democrat Party has done some really weird stuff. Okay, they just had this elections of their, chair people at the DNC, and I know they made David Hogg vice chair. None of the people were serious people. Usually, like the people that they make the heads of the DNC are somebody that Usually, like one liberal jerk is the big kahuna.
So what does that tell you?
They're right now, they're in give up mode. They have no leaders.
Nobody wanted the job.
Nobody wants it. Nobody wants the job.
Nobody wanted the job.
It's captain of the Titanic, and they're a leaderless movement that's going on right now.
That's right.
They have no leader. They have no prospects. They have no agenda.
Even Kayleigh McEnany, I watched a little bit of Outnumbered today. She even said, "I have no idea who that guy is," and she worked for Trump. She said, "Who is this guy, Ken?"
No, never heard of him.
Nobody wanted that job, and David Hogg. He's the only high-profile person they could get. They couldn't make him the leader because he's very young and inexperienced. So they made him the co-chair. He will become the vice chair. He will become the face of the DNC.
Oh, that's awesome for us.
Good luck with that and he wants to make the NRA a terrorist organization. He's got a thing with them. That guy has his own agenda, and let them have David Hogg because he is probably the worst person they could put out front and the most unappetizing person they could put out there. Nobody likes that guy unless you're a hardcore radical person, and that's just a very, very small amount.
David Hogg is nuts. He's very entitled. He's not likable. He's always pissed off. He is very, I almost feel like see, when you head up the RNC or the DNC, you're in charge of all of the money that gets distributed, not just for congressional races, but also local races throughout the country. They don't put nobodies in charge of that usually. This is very unusual. And it tells me that they got no money, that the donors aren't donating. You see,
they don't. Kamala burned through all of it.
President Trump is changing the country at every level, including politics. And what he's doing is he's allowing everyone to see behind the scenes what's going on.
Yes.
I give you, the second term, we are so lucky that we had this break between the terms and everything.
I agree. I think it's better.
It worked out. If he would have had his 2 terms back to back, the second term would have been like the same. Now, because
winning the same thing
because of everything that happened with Biden and all the troubles, he's got this mandate. But I give you an example. Okay, we were talking at the beginning of this show about how he's doing things differently. He's been doing these executive order events and they turn into press conferences, and he does it. He doesn't debate with these reporters. He answers their questions very briefly,
matter of fact,
boom, and he moves on, and then it's over. In the first term, he would spend 30 minutes, maybe even 45 minutes with one reporter debating them back and forth.
I know.
And he doesn't care what anyone thinks. He's just getting the stuff
He's very
done.
matter of fact in his answers.
He's just doing what's got to be done.
I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see. And then he's just like, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
And I was surprised today in the Oval Office, he had Rupert Murdoch sitting next to him.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't feel the need to get their approval anymore.
And if you notice, you don't see Paul Ryan around like you used to. Paul Ryan, who was trashing Trump during the primary phase and everything with all of his arrogance. I know he's still on the board, but
or Mitt Romney.
But he wasn't in the Oval Office with Rupert Murdoch. So there's been a change. And I've noticed a tone change on Fox quite a bit, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a total night and day
They carry all of his stuff, all of his press conferences. So I think it's safe to go back to watching Fox. It's very pro-Trump. They still do have some liberals on, but they have to appear like, and I'm sure a lot of people there don't like Trump. I don't care who they like or don't like. What I care about is that they show Trump's press conferences, they show what he's doing, and they do that. And also, if you want, you can go on YouTube and Reuters, Forbes, Right Side Broadcasting, they also show live streams. Like Reuters had him leaving the Palm Beach airport yesterday. And if you can get a lot of stuff like that on YouTube of live feeds of what Trump's doing and where he's at about that kind of stuff. But I wanted to say something I forgot now. Talking about
well, figure it out during the break.
What were you talking about just before?
How the press conferences in the Oval, he's getting stuff done. He doesn't care what people think. He's not debating. Think about it during the break. We'll regroup during the break.
Mind.
Well, I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. What Tom does is so, as crazy as it is, unusual in the roofing business, and it shouldn't be, right? He'll never sell you a roof you do not need, which means if you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. Now, if you need a new roof, he'll do that too. But other roofers, they'll tell you need a roof when you don't. Not Tom Laporta. I've talked to multiple listeners who thought they needed new roofs, and then Tom came out and said, no, you just need a repair. It's absolutely amazing. He works on every type of roof there is, residential, commercial, industrial, municipal. He even does church roofs. In fact, he was involved in the restoration of an old church here in Florida. And we have a lot of old churches because this used to be a Spanish colony. There's a lot of old churches in Florida because the Spaniards used to have this before we did, right? And that which is pretty cool. He works with every type of roofing material there is. I was talking to him about? I ran into Tom Laporta at the Greek Festival in Fort Lauderdale over the weekend. I was talking about metal roofs. And you can talk about metal roofs. I'm not going to get into the metal roofs, but it was interesting. He was telling me some interesting things about the metal roofs, Yeah,
those are getting really popular. Does he do those?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does every kind of roof.
I see those all over now.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was just curious. I'm not interested in getting a metal roof for us.
But, no, I don't particularly like them.
But a lot of people like them. So I was asking him, why do people do that? What's the benefit of it? And he was telling, you guys can ask him. But I thought it was interesting. He also, not only does he work with every type of roofing material, he also has the same, and these are very rare, He has the same Spanish roof tiles that are on Mar-a-Lago. And the Mar-a-Lago roof tiles are very unique, special tiles, and they're also many different colors, and they're special tiles, and they have to be installed on the roof in a certain order to get the Mar-a-Lago look.
Ooh,
so
I like that, the Mar-a-Lago look.
So if you want to have the same roof that President Trump and Melania sleep under, and Elon Musk.
Give Tom Laporta a call, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's a cell phone call or text, or visit his website, LaportaRoofing.com. We'll be back right after this. Luxury should be a feeling, not a fortune. Alani Samora bring you the sophistication of high-end perfumes without the designer price tag. Their expertly crafted perfumes mirror the opulence of luxury brands, delivering long-lasting, captivating scents that leave a lasting impression. Why pay more when you can experience elegance for less? Alani Samora only use premium ingredients as well as advanced techniques to create exquisite fragrances that rival the world's most renowned names at a fraction of the cost. Not sure where to start? Try a perfume sample set and discover your perfect scent before you commit to a full bottle. Luxury is no longer out of reach. It's within your grasp. Shop now at AlaniSamora.com and experience affordable elegance. AlaniSamora.com. Are you ready to experience the raw expression of the soul through poetry? When you read the book Habeas Corpus, To Beyond, available on Amazon, you'll enter a world where every poem is a unique journey, crafted with nuance and suggestion. Each piece is a rich tapestry of emotions and reveals the true nature of an artist's mind. You'll discover poetry that ranges from the sparse to the richly textured, capturing the human condition in every line. Offered with sincerity, foresight, and depth, these timely poems will resonate deeply within you. Order your copy now and let the magic of words transform your day. Habeas Corpus, To Beyond on Amazon.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, of course, joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. So you remembered what you were going to bring up to me.
I remembered what I was going to say. With Rupert Murdoch being at the White House, which was quite interesting. Here you have these guys that are these big industry guys, they're very competitive.
Yeah.
And I would imagine have some fragile egos. And they see all these other guys hanging out with Trump and they want a piece of the pie. It's becoming like a status thing. And it's like, if you're not there, you're not in the club. And Trump is the gatekeeper of that club now.
Yeah.
And they all want to be seen around him. All these big tycoons.
Yeah.
It's interesting. And I think Trump's aware of this and he knows it. And he's going to say to them, you want to be in my circle, you're going to have to do something for me.
That's right.
And believe me, he's has a totally different mindset because he has perspective. And I always talk about how important perspective is. He has gained perspective. And I think this is a much wiser, more cunning Trump than the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Not because he wasn't wise, but just everything he's been through. He has a new perspective on these things.
Well, I think in the first term, there's a few things were in play. He came down the escalator, and I think the campaign took off at lightning speed beyond what he imagined. And then and it was a lot of campaigning, and that was a long campaign, right? It went on for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And then before he knew it, he was president. And I think things just moved so fast, and he was new to Washington.
Yeah.
Now he said, and he
knows that. He said, "I know everybody and everything, and I know so much more than I did."
He did
before.
something today that I want to talk about in a moment. But these liberals are just out of their minds. If you follow me on YouTube, you may have seen my YouTube video I made on Fort Lauderdale Beach over the weekend.
Very good.
And there were a couple of things that happened that were not on camera. And it really, it's unfortunate. There were two things that happened that weren't on camera. One of them I really wish was on camera. Mm-hmm. And what happens a lot, what I did for those that don't know, and you can go and watch this video of me on Fort Lauderdale Beach on my YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show, which you all should be subscribed to because I live stream on the radio there every day. I upload the podcast there, and I upload lot of content there, and I take live calls when I'm not on the radio there and stuff all the time. You guys, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. You should be following me there. But I went to the Greek festival to see Tom Laporta because we were talking, and I love Greek food and stuff. So I went over there, and it's right down the street from Fort Lauderdale Beach, which is the beach that Kathy and I grew up on. That's our town. And I was wearing my Make America Great Again hat, and I was wearing that cool new shirt I got for the cruise. It's like a Hawaiian shirt, but it's the whole front of it is the photo of President Trump with blood right after the Never Trumper shot him with his hand up, fight, fight, fight. And I walked down the beach with my camera, and Democrats are calling me names, men and women.
No.
They were calling me names. They were so nasty, you know?
Can't imagine.
And there's one part when I go into a bar, the world famous Elbow Room, and there's some good stuff in there. And two things that happened in there when the camera wasn't running, because, you know, I was one of them. I was really upset that I did not get this on camera, but I had turned the camera off and put it away because I was leaving, and then something happened. Well, first thing that happened was this woman came up to me and wanted to take a picture with me because I had all the MAGA stuff on. So I said, fine, that's fine with me. She was pretty drunk, though, I gotta tell you. But the bar is 2 stories. And if you watch the vlog, you'll see I walk up the stairs and go outside to get a view of the street. I'm on the stairs between the first and second floor, and it's outside right on the ocean. And I took the video and I turned the camera off. And what happened? This 20-something lady bartender pointed me out to the bouncer and sent the bouncer after me to get out. Now I was leaving anyway. He didn't.
Like you're dangerous.
He didn't come up to me. He was coming to me, but I was walking out as he was coming up to me, and I guess I left before he got to me. But I saw her point to me and to the bouncer. Like what? Because I got a MAGA hat on. Yes. What am I going to do? Storm the? What does she think?
You're going to try to take over the business.
Yes, I'm an insurrection. I want to take over the bar on the beach.
The Elbow Room.
This is I mean, these people are out of their minds. So
they are.
President Trump today, you know, he's signing all these orders. This is in the New York Post. President Trump signed an executive order today to create a sovereign U.S. wealth fund. Okay? And he said TikTok may become one of the first acquisitions. The world's largest and wealthiest sovereign funds are owned by China and resource-rich countries like Norway and Middle East. I'm not sure.
So this is where the government will have acquisitions that we can actually make money off of.
He said this,
like own companies and generate income. That's
correct.
A great idea.
He says other countries have sovereign wealth funds, and they're much smaller countries. They're not the United States. As an example, this is Trump talking. Okay, this is a quote from the president. As an example, TikTok. We're going to be doing something perhaps, and we might put that in the sovereign wealth fund. Whatever we make, or if we do a partnership with very wealthy people. A lot of options, but we could put that as an example in the fund.
Great idea.
We have a lot of other things that we could put in the fund. And it's a long article. I'm not going to read through the article, but what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Why?
Because Trump's doing it. That's all.
You know, this morning I was talking about on YouTube. I most days of the week before I go on the air in the morning at 6 a.m., I'll do a live stream, and it's varying time. It's very early in the morning, so it's between 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. Somewhere now, I usually do a live stream on YouTube before I go on the air, kind of like a pre-show, and I talk about some of the things that are coming up. And I was talking about the tariff wars, the trade wars going on with the U.S. and Canada and Mexico, and there's these idiot liberals in there, and they're like, "Oh man." And I said to people in the chat room, I said, I remember it was 4:42 a.m. this morning. I said, it's 4:42 a.m. here on the East Coast. How many of you are up getting ready for work or at work right now? And a lot of people said, I'm at work. I'm at work. I'm going to work. And I said, think about it. You and I are up at 4:42 in the morning working or going to work. What? To support Canada? To support Mexico or the EU? What's that all about? So that's crazy. You know, we're so overtaxed. If we were not so overtaxed, Americans, I don't know, I think Americans would still work as much as we do. but it would be our money. This is a great idea, this wealth fund.
It is. All of these social justice things, climate change, they're all a ruse to steal.
Yes.
They are a cover to steal your money, like this USA aid thing that's being exposed. All these other things that we fund in the name of climate change, in the name of gender equality. Don't you guys that are Democrats understand? You're being manipulated. You're a useful idiot. And you are a good soldier going on TV and screaming racist, racist, racist at the top of your lungs. Meanwhile, they got their hand in your pocket taking your money because that's what this is all about. They don't give a crap about social justice or equality or the climate. All that's nonsense. They want to divide and conquer. That's what this is about. They divide you. You know, somebody asked Pete Hegseth, he had the best line. They said, do you think diversity is our strength? And he said, no, it's our weakness. He said, unity is our strength.
Yes.
And I thought that was such a good answer to that.
Who said that?
Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, he's right.
Because I don't think diversity is a strength in that sense. Diversity is
not
good,
if you're using it towards division.
But it's not a strength if it causes division and people to be tearing each other's throats out and just mad and not coming to a consensus. The politicians don't want us unified. Don't you understand that? They cannot pull their corruption and steal our money and fund all these things and take their percentages. This U.S. aid thing, you have the congressman right now in front of the building protesting.
Yeah. Well,
the U.S. aid group, they fund protests around the world. So because this is how these guys are getting paid.
Well, and you know,
what are these Elon's going to find out who's getting what?
This thing about diversity, let me explain a little bit about what that means, okay? So because I want people to understand what you mean by that and what Pete Hegseth means.
Yes.
When we were growing up, and even before we were around, they used to teach this thing to kids in school that America is a melting pot.
Right.
And what that means is no matter where you're from or what your background is, you come here, you're an American.
Right, exactly.
And then when in the 90s, they changed that in the education system. And they started teaching in the 90s that America is not a melting pot, it's a tossed salad with individual and different pieces. So when Pete Hegseth says diversity is our weakness, unity is our strength, what he means is they use diversity to separate people.
Right, exactly.
You understand what I mean? And we don't care about skin color or gender, by the way, the two genders, right? Or religion or anything. We're all Americans. That's the thing. And what they want to do is they use diversity as a way to separate people.
It's a weapon.
Now, there's another thing going on here with it's not just Doge. Doge is doing this, but some others, the FCC is looking into this too. National Public Radio.
Yes.
Doge is looking in the National Public Radio because they're partisan one way, and they're on more radio stations than...
Yeah, they're in trouble.
The National Public Radio is one way,
and PBS.
And public television. And National Public Radio is on more radio stations than Rush Limbaugh was on in his peak, okay? And it's all hardcore. And the FCC is investigating them. They're violating, apparently... the law. They're running paid commercials. They're not supposed to.
That's right.
So I'd like to know who's getting the money for those paid commercials on public radio.
Plus, I don't know if they do this anymore. I don't think they do. But there was a time when you had to pay to use their app, and it was like $6 a month to watch
NPR.
PBS.
Oh, PBS.
To watch the specials. And I remember they had the app on, and I'm thinking, why should I pay for this? I already pay for this. Why do I have to pay? So now I don't think you have to pay for the app anymore.
PBS, okay, here's the thing with PBS. Because I remember back in the Newt Gingrich era, okay, when Newt Gingrich had the Contract for America, the Republicans wanted to cut funding for public television, and they had a fit over it. Now, I don't know what the situation is now, but public television made plenty of money through, like, say, Sesame Street over the years, which is
the merchandising.
You know, the merchandising in movie. You know, there's no need for the government to be paying for these things anymore, and it's just another example of government waste.
Well, especially if what the law they're breaking is if the taxpayers are funding this, but they're using the platform to help Democrats win elections. That's not. I don't think that's allowed.
No,
I think that's a violation.
No, it's not allowed, and it's a big violation. They're in big trouble. Everyone from the establishment are in big trouble. And it's not going to, it's,
and they're very subtle. Like I watch a lot of PBS stuff, and they just did a thing on Da Vinci, which was good, Ken Burns. But if you watch some of their documentaries, they throw in anti-Trump stuff all the time. They throw in jabs. And you know what I mean? It might be subtle, but it's there. It's what is it called? Subliminal. And things like that. So I think if they look into it, I think they should pull all the funding from PBS. And if they want to stay in business, let them have an app that people want to pay for. And I promise you it'll go out of business because their content's not that good.
No,
they run a lot of British shows that you can get on BritBox, which I would put my money into. BritBox is way better. But Elon Musk, they're flipping out over him. And I feel like they see him as more of a threat than Trump at this point because he is going to expose the money trails. And that's the last thing they want. And you had told me that this USAID or some other organization, the Treasury were writing checks that every check was approved.
Well,
and what was that with?
Elon Musk, finally, he got access to the United States Treasury Department's payment portal office, which was not easy to do. It was a big fight, and they had to fire the guy in charge of it. And apparently, the payment department at the U.S. Treasury Department has never refused to send a check out or question any payments.
That's very suspicious right there.
When they start looking into, now that they have access, everything goes out of the U.S. Treasury.
Very suspicious.
When Elon Musk and his team start to go through the payments that have been sent over the years from the Treasury Department, people can go to prison. No one's ever looked at it before, and they've never turned down a payment. It's when you have a money machine like that, people get more and more emboldened as time goes on to do more and more dirty deeds.
Yeah,
there's so much crooked stuff going on. Now, I was going to ask you, My Pillow, of course, with our promo code Kane, Mike Lindell with our promo code Kane at checkout KANE is offering free shipping on all orders site-wide, no matter how big, no matter how small. You can order a pair of My Pillow socks and it's free shipping, or you can order $10 million worth of products and it's free shipping. Free shipping site-wide on all orders, no matter how large, no matter how small. This is for a very limited time. It will end without notice. We've been promoting for a little while free shipping on orders over $75. Now it's free shipping on all orders.
That's
for now.
Amazing.
It's amazing. And, a lot of you may have the My Pillows. I mean, we have every My Pillow there is. The regular My Pillow, the Elegance pillows, the My Pillow 2.0s. They're all spectacular, and we kind of rotate around with them, sometimes. But other than the pillows, I would say, because sometimes people ask me, like, what do you think's the must-have thing other than the pillow? And what my favorite My Pillow, and I'll ask you what yours is, but my favorite My Pillow product, aside from the pillows, are the towels.
Yeah, the towels are nice.
The towels right now with our promo code Kane, the 6-piece My Pillow towel set is just $29.98. They got a whole bunch of new colors in. And the reason I say the towels is simple because when Mike Lindell says towels that actually work, what a concept, I heard him say that on TV a bunch of times before we had the towels, and I didn't really get that, right? Some things you got to experience. And when you use a My Pillow towel, it actually absorbs the water off your body.
You'll notice it when you are in the process of switching out your towels. Like now we have all My Pillow towels, but before, when I first bought 2 or 4, I still had some of my old towels in the rotation, and that's when you really notice it. You'll be like, "This is not a My Pillow towel," and it's gone
that's right.
There is a huge difference.
What the other towels did, right, was it didn't absorb the water when you got out of the shower. It just spread it around your body.
Exactly.
Right?
That's right.
It's like, that's all it did. And the My Pillow towels, they dry you. I mean,
you didn't feel dry. Now you do.
No, it's really amazing. And you know what happens is, because maybe this is TMI, but I keep when I get in the shower and I'm done and I get out of the shower, I have the towel right on the rack, right outside the shower, and I dry off. And since I use the My Pillow towels, I just realized this today, okay? I never realized this before today. And we've had the My Pillow towels since they've had them. You get that cold feeling when you get out of the shower.
Yeah.
I don't have that anymore.
I don't either. And you know what I like about it?
Because I'm dried off when I get out of the shower.
What I notice is
That's the water, that cold feeling's the water evaporating off
and
you. There's no
when I
water
dry off, the first thing I dry is my hair.
Yeah.
I think most people do because it drips. And what I've noticed is I just rub it like I normally do, my hair in the back, and I come out, there's no dripping.
Yeah, it's amazing.
With other towels, my hair would still be dripping. It really, they really do absorb well.
Yeah.
We're not just saying that. You will notice the difference, I promise.
Now, everything Mike Lindell makes is high quality. This is just one example. But if you already have the pillows and you're wondering what's the must-have, everything's great. Everything's great. But if I could only have one other product other than the pillow, it would be the towels.
And if you want to get a nice gift for somebody for a wedding or a bridal shower, or even a baby shower, I would recommend the towels. You know, get a nice set in a pretty color, wrap it in a bow, and put it in a basket. You know, you could do, if you have a wedding coming up or a bridal shower or baby shower, you could get a nice big basket. And this is a good time to do it because of the free shipping. And you could fill a basket full of amazing products to give to the bride or the mother-to-be. And let me tell you, they would really, really appreciate that. They have those hand towels. And when you have a baby, you go through those like crazy.
Oh, yeah. So the towels themselves with our promo code Kane are just $29.98. Those are regularly $69.98. So it's a big discount plus free shipping on all orders site-wide, no matter how large, no matter how small, with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. I'm Brian. Of course, joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.